Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Welcome back to your no-nonsense news update for Cold War, and boy, there is a huge amount of news today, so we're gonna get right into it. I'll start with probably the most boring thing on the list, and it's only gonna get more interesting as the video goes on. Treyarch have added a couple of stability fixes for crashes related to the Mangler, play count, assault rounds, and essence traps. Next, the new season. It starts on February 24th at 9 p.m. Pacific, and it's got a lot of new stuff in it, including 4 new MP maps and 4 new operators, 2 of which I think look absolutely awesome because one of them is Samantha Maxis and another is Rivas, who is a new character who I just think looks really cool. And those 2, by the way, are going to be available via separate bundles in the store as opposed to being in the battle pass, unfortunately. There are also heaps of new challenges on the way. You'll get 1 every 10 season levels, there's 20 new zombies challenges, and some of them are going to be tied to Outbreak as well. So for example, it'll be like getting a certain number of regular kills, elite kills, vehicle kills, Outbreak completions, exfills, all those sorts of things. The season is also bringing the Death Machine score streak back to zombies at last. I've been missing this thing in Cold War, man, and it's great to see it return. And it's going to be being added to Firebase Z, D-Machine, and Outbreak, so you'll be able to get it no matter what type of zombies you're playing. And speaking of things that haven't been in zombies for a little while, the R1 Shadow Hunter is being added into the game for multiplayer and for zombies, and it's a crossbow. So is this thing gonna work like an awful Lawton from Days Gone By? If it is, that's gonna be so awesome, and also will probably revolutionize the meta and by association make our lives a hell of a lot easier. So this is definitely one to watch. I'm really excited to see the R1 Shadow Hunter being added. And there's also the Fire 83 AR that I figured I would mention because it feels from the description like this could end up being one of the best weapons in its class. It's a high fire rate and high effective damage AR. So it's essentially getting towards being an LMG, but still in the AR category. It's unlocked at tier 15 in the battle pass, and there's an SMG at tier 31 as well if you want to keep grinding, and I'm sure many of you will throughout the season. So that's nice, new weapons, but can we upgrade those weapons in any new ways? And the answer to that is yes, we can. The first way to do that is with the new alternate ammo type that's being added called Shatterblast, and this thing is really interesting sounding because honestly, to me, it kind of sounds like it might actually work like stopping power. It's gonna convert all your bullets to deal explosive damage, and every bullet you fire is gonna have a chance to explode, dealing additional explosive damage and destroying any armor on, for example, a heavy zombie that you hit. The skill upgrades for it mean that you can knock down zombies when you hit them, which is so OP. You can damage nearby enemies, of course, with splash damage, and you can increase the radius of that explosion just for more AoE firepower. Now, I think it would be an easy mistake to make to hear those things and go, okay, cool, this is going to be an easier way for us to take down heavy zombies, and maybe that's about it. But guys, think about this with me for a sec, okay? In the past, if you've been using a high fire rate weapon with Deadwire, for example, you have to wait a pretty large amount of time for that Deadwire proc to reset and for you to be able to get it to activate again. In that time, you can fire off a huge number of bullets, maybe a couple of magazines, and it means that compared to something like a shotgun that is going to fire much more slowly, you're basically missing out on a load of extra AAT damage for every bullet that you fire. And to me, it sounds like this AAT is going to do the polar opposite. It's going to flip the entire equation on its head. The more bullets you fire, the better, because you're going to have a higher chance in a given window of time of getting the knockback, which is going to be really important, I'm sure, and then also getting that AoE effect, which is going to damage nearby zombies as well. Imagine you're using like the bullfrog. You're going to end up with like firecrackers coming out of your gun. It's going to be amazing. Also being added is a new equipment called Frenzied Guard. This one actually got leaked ages ago, but it's finally coming now. And when you use it, all zombies are basically going to run towards you, and you're only going to take armor damage. You won't take damage to your health. If you upgrade it, you'll get all your armor repaired as soon as you activate it. It will up the duration, and it will slow all enemies, normal ones at least, to a walking speed while it's active. This is something that I think could be powerful, but it's going to need some testing to see how it kind of feels in game. And so I'll report back to you guys in a list of the best to worst equipments ranked once season 2 comes out. And I'll also do a best to worst ammo types ranked too. And if you don't want to miss those videos, you should totally think about hitting the subscribe button. It's free. You can always unsub if you decide that you want to go back on it. Why not give it a go? Another thing coming in the season is a big change to the skill tiers system. And this is kind of going to be our segue into talking about Outbreak and what Treyarch devs have been saying about it and all sorts of stuff like that, so stay tuned. But the skill tier system itself is getting a new layer. Skill tiers 4 and 5 are being added, but they do not work the same way as tiers 1 to 3. So previously, you've just got your regular old Aetherium crystals from doing exfils maybe, or completing high rounds, things like that, in D Machine and Firebase Z, and now we're getting refined and flawless Aetherium crystals, so a separate currency to the old ones that we were earning, and these can only be achieved by the sounds of things if you complete multiple outbreaks in one run, which I'll be talking more about in a second, or you specifically reach high rounds in zombies. So I think that it's unlikely that we're going to be seeing these as rewards for like round 10, round 15. I think that they're going to start higher. I want to stress that that's just a theory, but they specify that it's going to be for high rounds. And I'm actually really interested to see how Treyarch actually executes this, because think about this. In zombies, so far, if you're a newer player or you're just not very good at the game for whatever reason, you aren't really excluded from unlocking anything particularly meaningful if you're not able to get to round 100 or you're not able to get an Easter egg done, for instance, or something like that. You might miss out on like a calling card, but you're not missing things that really transform your gameplay experience. This is something that the zombies community has kind of argued back and forth about for a long time, because a lot of the more experienced players want to be rewarded for doing those higher skill activities. Like, if you do an Easter egg a certain number of times, you get a weapon that you can only unlock from doing the egg. That would be an incredible reward. And it's never happened. And I know there have been like mini things like getting the RK5 in BO3, but you guys know what I mean. But now, if Treyarch decides that you can only get these crystals if you get to round 50 or you complete something pretty tricky in Outbreak, it will be, as far as I can think of at least, one of the first times ever where they have actively said, if you're not good enough, you don't get this, and you need to get better in order to try and get there. It is breadcrumbing new players into actually getting better at the mode, and I love the idea that they might be doing this. It would be so healthy for the community, I think, to give newer players some power jump that they really want to get to, but they kind of have to grind to get a little bit better in order to be able to unlock. And then they get it, and they feel like a god as soon as they unlock those extra skill tiers. Like, I just think this would be so good. Treyarch, if you're doing what I think you're doing, I'm excited. Thumbs up. So, it's about time we talk about Outbreak. I actually spoke to a Treyarch dev the other day, and they said that they had a moment during one of their Outbreak playtests that goes into their personal top 5 COD moments of all time. The mode is absolutely insane. Nobody is ready for it. I think there's a real excitement within the studio about what they've all created here. And I mean, that's infectious in my mind. Like, I'm really excited too. They essentially had this vision, I guess, to create an open world zombies experience, and then while they were designing things like Firebase Z with the teleporter that takes you between areas and the jump pads, D Machine with the portals that take you into the dark ether, while they were doing all that, they also clearly had in their heads a goal to be able to implement them into a larger scale setting as well. And so this isn't meant to just be like a throwaway side mode. This has been something that they have been building from the early days of the vision of Cold War Zombies, and I'm really glad that it's come to fruition and we're about to be able to jump into it. There are going to be multiple Outbreak maps, and the idea is that when you're playing each map, you'll kind of have a mission, and then you can choose when you get to the end to either exfil, or it seems like you'll be able to kind of teleport into a new map and basically keep playing, and that's going to kind of act as their playlist feature for the mode. It's an ingenious solution to a problem that Zombies has had for so long. You complete an objective like an Easter egg, and then the game either is hard-coded to just end, or you're allowed to keep playing, but you're often only presented with one choice or the other. Now, Cold War Zombies kind of went halfway to fixing this by adding the exfil option, and that means that you don't just need to down yourself to end your game, which is great, but if you do the Easter egg, which is the kind of objective in this case, your game ends every time. You can't choose to keep playing, and so Outbreak solves this problem by letting you do objectives and keep playing, or do objectives and then say, okay, that's enough for me, I'm gonna exfil now and wrap things up. Those challenges and objectives include things like surviving a lockdown in a little bubble similar to the ether canister step in Firebase Z, using a satellite tracker to find and take down elite zombies, escorting a rover that is going to detect dark ether portals that are around the map. Like, there are a variety of different ones that you can get. You can buy perks, like the Wonder Fizz machine, for instance, is going to be in there, and you can also use vehicles, and obviously we saw these in the trailer, but I still can't really believe this is happening. You're going to be able to just run over zombies. I can't wait. It's going to be incredible. The options at launch, I believe, are going to be a motorbike, a sedan, and a light truck. There may be more that are added through the season, though. And we've all seen the Panzer, of course, but they do say in the blog post there are new enemies, plural. So there might be other enemies that we haven't seen yet, or maybe the monkey that we see trapped in the cage in that one part is an enemy of some kind? I don't know, maybe that's just me being a conspiracy theorist, but I think Treyarch might have more surprises hidden up their sleeve here. I should also point out, we still don't know why this zombie is wearing a Christmas hat. I know that was a bit of a topic change from talking about potentially evil monkeys, but I'm wrapping up the video right now, so I figured I'd leave you with a mystery. So loads of stuff coming in season 2, absolutely loads, and if you want more no-nonsense news updates like this, as well as gameplay, guides, Easter eggs, tutorials, the whole shebang, then subscribe and drop a like on the video as well, potentially as well. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time, bye for now.